going on, guys? So I just wanted to give you guys a 250-mile review on the Maverick R. So I've bought it right around Memorial Day. So I've had it, what's today, July 7th, July 8th, so a little over a month now, and it's pretty dope. I used to have a Maverick X3, which was a great car, but I totaled it back in probably right at the beginning of 2021. I never got a replacement just because I knew that there was probably going to be a new car coming out, and I didn't want to buy something right before a new one did. A new one came out. Ended up taking a couple of years longer than I expected, but here's the Maverick R. Super excited with it. I've gotten a little over 250 miles on it, and it's insane. The DCT is awesome. The engine's awesome. The suspension's insane. This one I got with smart shocks. I didn't have smart shocks on my last car, and I love it. There's some things that could be better, which I'm sure a shock tune will help out, but all right, buddy, all right. But yeah, so I'll get to that in further detail, but let's go ahead and start off with the engine. So comparing this to my stock X3, I had a single R, turbo R. It is no comparison. This would absolutely destroy any single R stock machine. Moving up to a turbo RR. So my buddy's got a race car. He races down in Baja in the Code Series, and I raced him already, but he's got the WS 195 tune from Whale and Speed, which I want to say is right around like 195 wheel, and that is, we were basically dead even. He's got a little bit of clutch work to do. He just switched over to some new clutching, and it's running a little bit low, probably around 7,700 RPM, so there's a little bit more power in it. And for whatever reason, I was getting him off the jump. So if we launched from a dead even start, I basically took off. I was in Sport Plus, and Sport Plus does really well. On the second run we did, I let him get the jump just barely. As soon as I saw his tires spin off the line, I let off, and he got me on the jump there. I stayed about probably a half a car behind him, basically on his door, and probably once we hit 80-ish, that's when I started to pull past him. So at the top end, I definitely beat him top end, but then again, that's a tuned X3. As far as the transmission goes, I really like it. I have no problems with it. I know a lot of people are saying that they don't think it's in the right gear. It's always hunting. I wouldn't say so. So in normal mode, yeah, it doesn't want to stay in the top RPMs. In sport mode, it'll stay higher up in the RPM range, but not all the way out. So it'll upshift a little bit if you're just cruising. Not too low like normal mode will. But in Sport Plus, I mean, it is balls to the wall at all times. Like, even if I'm going through a whooped out section, it'll try to keep me like right next to red line if that's what speed I'm going. So I don't really have any problems with it. I'm sure it'll get much better with a tune, keeping you higher in that RPM range, because some of those tunes, well, really the only one that's out right now, is they're raising the rev limit up to like 9,000, where right now it's like 83, 84-ish. So you're shifting the rev limit over like 600 or 700 RPM. With that, you're able to stay in the power band longer. I've noticed sometimes I'll go to floor it and it won't downshift where I wanted it to, but it's only like in that first couple seconds where like I wish I would have been a little higher in the RPM range so there was less lag. give you a little bit more punch, but in Sport Plus, I have no issue with that. Only note I have about Sport Plus is it drains fuel probably 30 to 40% more fuel than compared to me being in sport mode. Right, moving on to the suspension. So this is a Smart Shocks car. With that being said, I have seen a lot of people say, hey, I'm bottoming out in the back, it's way too soft. I personally don't have those issues. I've checked out a video from another YouTuber and he was doing some shock adjustments, and based off of what his machine was set at stock, he got one that had just came out. Mine was built in January of 24. My stock preload and crossover settings were different than his, so my preload was set a little bit higher, so my ride height was higher. So maybe Can-Am's doing something different on these newer builds with the stock settings, but I'm not having issues with bottoming out in the rear, and that's in Sport and Sport Plus. Comfort, maybe, but where I am having issues is the front. So I am bottoming out in the front a good amount. If I forget to leave it, if I forget to put it in Sport Plus and I'm driving a little faster, I will bottom out in the front. Going through Plaster City, just going through like the testing area where it's really rutted out from the trophy trucks, there I was bottoming out kind of in the belly, in the back. On accident, I was in comfort mode when that was happening. I reran that track back in Sport Plus and didn't have any issues. So let's see, I've covered the engine, transmission, suspension. Let's talk about the screen briefly. The screen has no use, I'll be honest. I don't see any valid use for it. There's nothing that it does that I'm like, this is great. The GPS on this last route we did was glitching constantly. It was updating late. Even though I had the phone connected and not in the glove box, my phone wouldn't overheat, but the GPS would not work on the screen. The GPS would pop up on my phone, but still it was lagging and it wasn't a good experience. It wasn't getting the job done. Another thing to consider with the screen is Can-Am is supposed to be providing updates to where the GPS works without your phone plugged in, because right now it doesn't work unless your phone is plugged in. So you'll be able to use the map and potentially whatever functions they choose to include, who knows, but they did say that they do plan on bringing onboard maps without a phone plugged in. So hopefully that'll make the screen more useful later on, but outside of that, I don't see much of a use for it. Moving on to some modifications I've done. First thing I did was a Switch Pro. I didn't even have any accessories to put on. I put a Switch Pro on immediately. So if you've ever done any work, any wiring on a side-by-side, highly recommend you do a Switch Pro. They're pretty easy to install, and it makes installing your additional accessories super easy. So I still got some of my crap in here right now, but so I got the TMW mount for the Switch Pro. Makes it super clean, super flush, looks OEM. I did the radio and intercom. This is a PCI Trax with the Kenwood. And then this mount is from One Cut Fab. I've never had an issue with it coming close to my leg. See, I don't know if you can tell from there, but I would really have to, like, even if I kick up, it's not going to touch. I would have to slide my knee all the way forward, which is way away from where I would be in a harness. There's no way I could get anywhere close to that for my knee to hit. So I think it's my favorite of what's available. If I had to do something, I'd probably rather do custom and maybe move this whole setup up. right? Because move the headlight switch somewhere else, have the intercom right here, and have the radio right under it. But I'm really happy with this, and I don't plan on moving it unless something else comes out. For the rest of the interior, I put the switch right here for the radio. This works out really well for me. I had it over here, but it wasn't staying, so this spot is nice for me. I have the passenger one here, which has also worked well for my passenger this weekend. Yeah, not much else to say. The screen, like I said, is relatively useless. This screen is just a normal screen that you're used to with Can-Am. Storage is atrocious. Barely any room right here, and then barely any room right here. This cable that's sticking out is just an iPhone charger. Got a RAM mount for my phone right there. Another RAM mount for a GoPro right here. A PCI pumper. Nowhere good to mount it, so I bought a mounting plate from PCI to flush mount it right there. Another accessory I haven't mentioned yet is the exhaust. So I have a RPM exhaust. That's their non-resonated mid-pipe, going back to their sport muffler. I bought this secondhand. It came with different tips. It had these Akrapovic. I don't know if these are legit or not, but as you can tell, it didn't handle our ride. The inner metal piece broke off of this tip and it started melting. So I haven't had anything break other than that exhaust tip. I do have some, looks like there's an oil leak right here. I'm not sure if that's common or what. I've wiped it off a couple times and it just keeps getting dusty again, so I got to take it in to see where that's coming from. I did get a little pinhole leak on the axle right there. Hopefully that shows up. You can kind of see it's leaking right on where the clamp goes, so maybe it got pinched in assembly. I'm gonna take it into the dealer. I've got 18 months warranty from Can-Am. That was a promotion they were running, so that would be nice. These tires actually have relatively good grip, and I've seen a lot of people complain about them and say that they got a bunch of flats or they're super sensitive. So with that being said, I bumped them up to about 24 psi all around, and I have not had any issues. All right, if you've made it this far, I appreciate you watching. If you guys got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you want to learn more about the car. If you want to see me go anywhere or test anything specific, I'll definitely give that a shot. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.